Alrighty, racers, heads back, face forward.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another review. This time it's not on a ride, it's on an actual event that happens yearly at Thorpe Park Resort, and of course it is Fright Nights. Now, I'm not going to make this video too long because the Wicker Man review is like 13 minutes long and I don't want it to be like that. So we're just going to get straight into it. So, starting off with Vulcan Peak. Now, this maze had a lot of haters, and I will say it was definitely the worst maze at the event, and maybe the worst maze I've ever done. But people really did say it was that bad, and I didn't think it was as bad as they said. I've been told that there were no actors inside, it was just staff members, and there were megaphone scares, if you want to call them that. And none of that happened. I had 3 good scares, and there were quite a few actors in there this time, maybe about 3 or 4, and I got 3 good scares. A few of them were from behind, and obviously from the sides, which is mainly where they come from, but other than that, it really wasn't that good of a maze. It got very repetitive and a bit boring. The rope was just going up and down, and in weird formations, and you'd lose it half the time. And I think the bit without your hoods didn't make any sense whatsoever. And yeah, it's a bit of a shame they didn't bother to revamp the inside, but I think it would have been really good if they did. Now, Do or Die is one of the 2 Walking Dead mazes at the resort this year. Of course, last year we did have Sanctum, and this is kind of replacing it, and I would say it was definitely a decent maze. The actors were great, and although I didn't really get any major scares, I did get chased by a not working chainsaw, and also someone with a knife who was just following me for a little bit, but that's a story for another day. It was alright. The theming was alright again. It's not the greatest theming, it looks a bit rushed, especially the black walls towards the end, and although it was better than Sanctum, it was an alright maze, but do bear in mind, I did only do it in the day, so it could have been way better in the night, and I'm not sure about that, but I'd like to say the pre-show, when you're on the bus, is actually really good, and that's probably the best part. But other than that, it looked a bit rushed, although it was still a decent maze. Now on to Blair Witch, which is back for its 3rd year, but it's not in a row, it's like overtime, come back, and it's back this year, and this is the first time I've ever done it, and I'd like to say it was very well themed, but it was basically the shortest maze in existence. Everything about it was shaping up to be really good. Obviously the queue line wasn't supposed to be themed, that's understandable. It was just in an area to the left of Vulcan Peak, or I'm a Celebrity, which is fine, but everything was looking good. The is it Burkittsville? I'm not sure, I haven't watched the film. That area was really nice, the lighting was great. I did do it in the semi-dark, but yeah, that was all great, and yeah, the actors did a great job at keeping character and everything, but I just think the length really did affect it. It was very short, it was done very quickly, and I think it would definitely be better if it had that length, and if it did, it would probably be the best one this year, or up there as one of the best. On to Dead Creek Woods, which was one of the ones that didn't really get revealed until later on in the hype up stuff. So this was a maze I wasn't that sure about. I thought it would be alright, I didn't know whether I'd like it or not, and for a surprise, I actually really liked it. I did it once in the daytime, and I really did get quite a lot of scares in it. I got chased by a chainsaw, and I got chased through about 2 scenes. I looked back through, once I got onto one scene, I thought she was chasing the people behind, and she just came through looking at me with a chainsaw, so I was just like, nah, you're alright. But yeah, so I think the theming was great, although it's from the previously their zombie hunt, and especially the security van ending bit, which was really good theming as well. And yeah, I really did like this maze. I think if it had a few more scenes and was just a bit longer, maybe a few more actors, it would have been even better. But that's not to say that it wasn't good, because it really was, and it was probably the biggest surprise out of them all. Living Nightmare was the second, well, is the second maze that returned from last year, and it's obviously based on The Walking Dead. And I didn't do this one, this Fright Night, it's the same as Saussure Alive, but I did do it in the summer, and also when it was extreme in the May half term. Wow, that was a long time ago, but it really doesn't feel like it. And I really did enjoy this maze when I did it. Of course, it may have changed, it may have just got a lot more actors, whatever, but it was great. The actors again were brilliant as always, and I think the theming was great as well. The pre-show was decent, and especially in the extreme one where you just got left on your own, which was quite funny. But yeah, it was. I would say that if it ever returns again, or if it returns next year, I'd like to see a few more improvements, a few more scenes, again, a few more actors if they can, and it was a great maze, and I think it's a solid maze in their lineup.
Let the games begin.
So, Saussure Alive, of course, this is the maze that's been here for many years, and again, didn't do this one on the Fright Nights day because it probably had the longest queue in the park, which was a bit weird, but yeah, considering it's the one that's been there for the longest time and it was one of the best, it's a bit worrying, but I'll move on to that later. It's just plenty of scares I got in there when I did it last time. The theming is great in there. I think it's probably the best themed one out of them all. And to be honest, I think if they changed it slightly, or changed like one scene, I think it would be still a solid maze to its lineup every year. But yeah, literally I got that good of a scare in Saussure Alive that I think my heart dropped about 10 feet at one point. And so yeah, that was pretty good, and I think I won't forget that for a very long time. Yeah, it's a solid maze. So by just common sense, you probably realised that what my favourite maze of this year was, and of course it was Platform 15. That's situated in Old Town, nearby where Loggers Leap goes, and you can actually see it from the maze, which is quite cool. But yeah, so I did it in the day, and gotta be honest, I was a bit disappointed with it. If you didn't know, 2017 I went to Fright Nights for the first time. I went to my first ever Halloween event at a theme park, and I really loved it. I actually found it my best scare maze I've ever done, and yeah, even top Big Top, which is something to say for a lot of people, but yeah, so it's my favourite scare maze, and in the daytime I was a bit disappointed with it because the effects, some of them weren't even working, like the fire wasn't working, which was a bit of a disappointment. And also the wall that vibrates wasn't working, and there was a lot of things wrong with that run through, and also I think the reason for that was that the groups were really close together, and we only queued not even 5 minutes for it, because the groups were so close together at that point that there was just no space to just set off effects over and over again, and it was a bit disappointing. But then we went back at around 7 o'clock, which at this time you think, oh, it's only sunset. No, it was very dark at this point. We went in and experienced it in the dark, and oh my, it's definitely better in the dark, and it definitely stays my favourite maze. And if you want to expand on that, it's definitely better than last year. There's only been a minimal change, I think the ending and a few more, but the effects were on, and everything was working. It was it wasn't pitch black, but you get what I mean, you could still see. The lighting around that rock wall bit was insane, the blue lighting, and the house was lit up really, like, it was very eerie at that point, because there's obviously no music. And the actors, again, great job, the effects, everything was working. It was just so good. But yeah, overall, I think this event was quantity over quality based. I think it wasn't so much, let's have 4 or 5 solid mazes, and let's just have a load that aren't that good. I mean, there were definitely highlights in there, but obviously I would have rather had one that was a Fright Nights, which had a few mazes, but they were all great instead of loads that were not too good. But yeah, I think it was a great event. Again, I'm not complaining. I think Big Top was definitely missed from this event, although they tried to bring it back, they kind of failed a bit. But yeah, I think it was just missed from the event. Everyone used to love it last year. Obviously it wasn't my favourite, but it was up there. It's probably my second favourite still. But yeah, I think this was the main triumph for Thorpe to get this to be their UK version of Halloween Horror Nights in Universal. To some avail, it was pretty good at Presser Nights as it seemed, but gradually lost hope over time. Anyway, if you've been to Fright Nights this year, tell me what you thought of it in the comments. Are your opinions similar to mine, or are they completely different? I'm sure we can both agree that Vulcan Peak is not a good maze. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Well, I guess you was right. Yeah, well, you right now. Yeah, you right now. I guess you was right. Yeah, where you right now? I need you right now. I guess you was right. Well, you right now. Yeah, you right now. I guess you was right.